So let's start just knowing, how did you come to do what you're doing? Like, tell us a bit about your journey to the autonomous car space, and how did you come to this specific, very crowded, sophisticated, hard to solve space, actually.
Sure, thank you. So I'm what you'd like to call a serial entrepreneur. I started my entrepreneur journey when I was as young as 19.
Wow.
And at this time, I started this crazy idea that what if you could buy a domain name, like www domain name, online autonomously? Like, it used to be very complicated. I'm talking just as Google's rising, that there was no way to. It was really hard. How do you actually do it for small businesses? So I thought I'll automate this process, and I started a small startup called 123 Registration, where people would go and they could enter what name their company is, and then enter the type of business. And through this, built one of the first sort of automatic website builders, so anyone could just register a domain and have a mini website. So this grew, got to several thousand, tens of thousands of customers, grew very large. And then someone was crazy enough to buy it, and that was my first sort of startup. Then I stayed in tech. I went to do a second startup, which was in the space of advertising. So there was a crossover between doing domains and websites and advertising in general, because people to promote themselves. And then with this, I found by speaking with so many businesses, there was this unique gap in the market where a small to medium sized business could not afford to advertise on a billboard, for example, in their local town. Because this was normally space where large agencies buy the entire region, and you'd see maybe TV channels promoting the latest show or something.
Right.
So I thought there's got to be a better way. So I realized there's something in planning law that gave exemption for putting outdoor advertising on an area of dual purpose. And these were bins. But I don't want advertising a bin. What if we make it the most beautiful bin in the world that's solar powered? And so I designed and built this solar powered street litter bin that lights up at night and puts this beautiful advert at night. And I took this to Dragon's Den, the investment show Dragon's Den, and they hated it. I said I just
Yeah.
wheeled out in the bin, never to come again.
Yeah. Dragon
So
Den is like the Shark Tank in the UK, right?
yes, exactly. For the Americans, yes, it is essentially Shark Tank. I think Shark Tank broke off from Dragon's Den. So yeah, so
Oh,
they didn't like it very much, but the company didn't do too badly. Ended up being licensed by companies like DDEM. They make vending machines in Italy and a few other countries until I sold the master license. And then my largest startup was called My City Venue. This was in the things to do space. Now that I'd sold a startup, what do I do in my free time? I realized how hard it was to find anything to do in London. So I thought,
that's
I can
hard.
solve this. So
Yeah.
finding stuff to do was very fragmented in the 2010s. What I mean by this is if you go and you want to find a karaoke bar, the same bar to give you karaoke tonight is a goth night on a Thursday, is a rave on a Saturday. So the same place would have different items happening. So you can't actually find, where do I find this specific thing? It's all over the place.
Right.
So I thought I'd bring order to chaos and build very clever automation scripts which allow anyone to type in what they want, what night, then it figures out all the matrix of what's happening and get your results. So this was very popular. It grew very quickly, and then it got acquired by the company Secret Escapes, and the data was also acquired by one of the big taxi apps. And so that was my last startup, which was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, which brought me onto self-driving cars. So
Yeah.
I realized that as an entrepreneur, I've done so many industries, and I've done well enough that I don't really want to sail off into the sunset. And the world has bigger problems to solve than maybe a better way to book a restaurant. Because that's kind of what Silicon Valley will fund you. If you have a really cool dog walking app, they'll scale quickly, or some widget or some color, or yeah, they'll fund you. But I thought there's more complex problems and logistics. Logistics is complicated. It's very detailed, and I thought that is so me. It'll probably take years, but I
Yeah.
like a good challenge. However, I realized I didn't have the geeky enough credentials to be able to do such a startup. So I went back to university and I studied
Wow.
artificial intelligence and robotics at Aberystwyth University in Wales. And there I met most of my founding team who were the PhDs there and the professor, and we left to start Academy of Robotics. So what Academy of Robotics does is we design and build self-driving cars which autonomously deliver packages.
Wow.